Tonight, a firestorm of controversy surrounds President John Mahama's travel arrangement with NPP MP, accusing him of breaching the code of conduct for government appointees by using a private jet owned by his brother, Ibrahim Mahama.
How will the president deny his brother an opportunity if the brother seeks to have the opportunity? Is he in the bauxite? In our mineral interest or any interest in our downstream mineral. The president cannot deny the brother because the brother is extending favor one way in the first place.
More from Parliament, where the ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee is questioning why the government has abandoned the state's existing presidential jet.
Now the Falcon is there. It is not in any maintenance. It is parked here, right here in Ghana, certified airworthy. Say you will not use it. You have even gone to buy another aircraft. That aircraft, another presidential jet. You didn't even buy anything different.
We'll get a response from government tonight on Top Story, brought to you by Telesell Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy Holy Sleep, and also by Short Pension Trust into the future. With you, this is live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, also live on ATL 100.5 in Cape Coast, on Radio Max in Takrady, and several of our affiliates across the country. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace. Well, tonight, NPP MP for Wale Wale constituency, Dr. Abdul Kabiru Tia Mahama, has slammed President Mahama for repeatedly using a private jet owned by his brother, Ibrahim Mahama, for international trips, calling it a blatant breach of the code of conduct for government appointees. The president is currently in South Korea and traveled on a new private jet owned by his brother, Ibrahim Mahama. Speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Kabiru Mahama ribbed into the president's decision as unethical and a clear conflict of interest, questioning the standard set by the president's own code of conduct. He's demanding an immediate, end to the practice of this particular one. And he says that this is unacceptable for the president to use a private jet owned by a family member because it goes against the code of conduct. Listen to him.
The president, who under the previous government in opposition spoke so much and spoke so vehemently against the former president using commercial flights and then embarking on trips. The argument that was advanced then was the fact that our presidential jet was not serviceable. But they argue strenuously and with the current foreign minister stating that the presidential jet was serviceable. Down the line, the president is found to be doing the very thing that they spoke against it. First, it's marks of conflict of interest. How will the president deny his brother an opportunity if the brother seeks to have the opportunity? Is he in the bauxite? In our mineral interest or any interest in our downstream mineral. The president cannot deny the brother because the brother is extending favor one way in the first place. The potential conflict of using a private person presidential jet for official trips is apparent and is just clear. It's so clear for everyone to see. And now you are not using just any private person, you are using the presidential jet of your brother. So the palpable conflict of interest is there. There's also some ethical issues. If a president must live beyond reproach, that beyond reasonable, that people would not want to see any semblance of unethical consideration in your behavior. So the fact that the president is using the brother, it brings himself within against his own code of conduct of public officials, because you spell out some code of conduct for your officials. They shouldn't put yourself in a conflict situation. You are putting yourself right in the center of a conflict. So that is unethical, and I think that the president should have known better. There is no reason whatsoever. Even if there's the need for him to go, he could have gone on commercial flight. He can use business class. We want our president to be comfortable. But to go with your brother's flight, I will say with the greatest respect, the president has lost it. And it's actually a betrayal the very same seems that they were blaming Nana Akufo-Addo for, they are repeating that in grand style.
So that's Kabiru Tia Mahama there. Let's bring in Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante, who's joining us with some details on this particular story. Because members of Parliament have been reacting to the story as well, giving their perspectives on this particular matter, with some even warning that some raising questions about the status of the country's existing presidential jet and all of that. We'll be hearing from Kweku Asante from Parliament soon. Also, CEO of Imani Africa, Franklin Kojo, has been speaking on this particular matter. We'll be hearing from him as well. And then we'll take you to government to bring in the government response. Let's now go to Parliament now and bring in our parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante, who joins us. Kweku, you've also been getting some reaction from the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend John Ntim Fojo. Now, he's raising questions about the status of the country's existing presidential jet. What exactly is he saying?
Well, Bruce, according to Reverend John Ntim Fojo, the NDC government had always insisted that the presidential jet was in, quote, pristine condition. And he does not understand why John Dramani Mahama continues to make these long-haul travels without utilizing it. But that if indeed he has a problem, why not sell it off and buy a new jet instead of the president allegedly embracing himself in conflict with the continuous use of his brother's private jet? Listen to
the NDC did reckless politics with presidential travels. I maintain the view and the posture that whenever the president is traveling, President Mahama, President Akufo-Addo, President Kufuor, President Tamel's future president, whoever is the president of the republic, when they are whenever Kweku Asante, I just want to be a bishop. Anytime a president is traveling, their safety is paramount. Whether it is rented, whether it is state-owned aircraft, whether it is privately chartered, the safety must be number one. That must be what we should look at. But let's bring it into context. Number one, you claim that you have a Dassault Falcon that is in pristine condition. Why are you not using it? Because it is available. President Akufo-Addo was expected to use it all the time, even when it was in repairs and was at repairs for maintenance for months, and he needed to go on privately chartered aircraft. They had a big problem with it. They bastardize him and use it, weaponize it for campaign gains. Now the Falcon is there. It is not in any maintenance. It is parked here, right here in Ghana, certified airworthy. Say you will not use it. You have even gone to buy another aircraft. That aircraft, another presidential jet. You didn't even buy anything different. They bought the same Falcon, a newer version of Falcon, as small as the existing Falcon. So they are going to have two Falcon. We are telling them that if they should sell this one, if that the new one is what they are interested in, then they should sell this.
So that's the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Now, Kweku, you have also received response from the majority side regarding these allegations.
Well, yes, Bruce, we've been digging. It's been a bit difficult to get any majority MP to get on the record at the moment. What you tell me is that this is simply a case of the minority looking for scandals because they are not getting anything that will stick on the government, so they continue to raise these issues. They do not find anything fundamentally wrong with the president using his brother's private jet, which the government has explained is coming at no cost to the state. They don't have any problem with that. And the minority are simply clutching at straws.
All right, I'm grateful to you. Kweku Asante is our man in Parliament. Also, CEO of Imani Africa, Franklin Kojo, is weighing in on this discussion, urging President Mahama to stop using his brother's private jet for official trips. Franklin Kojo warns a scandal looms if anything goes wrong with the aircraft.
I was mortified to hear again that, does it go on jolly rice on this place or real work? Either way, Look, we are not saying that Ibrahim's security may be bad or whatever, but see, imagine we may have a scandal on our hands if it turns out that one day the president travels on the brother's death, and God forbid something happens. We have to question him as a commander-in-chief whether it was good judgment to do that. We need to understand all of this, but the president is so protected beyond. Recently, he traveled commercially on a plane. Jubilee House released with fanfare and a gog of joy, released this video, and we were all clapping. That okay, the president may have a problem with the plane, private presidential jet, they flew commercial, and they accord you for all the respect they will, right? I mean, and they always do if you fly first class, So I am surprised. I don't know where this is coming from, but this is the second I've heard, and people are trying to rationalize it. It's free. It's not possible. Who told you it's free? Never assume that. Even the president was in a French private plane. Never assume that these things are free. Yes, Ibrahim does a few things for philanthropy, but hell no. This is the spirit of the president, and we do not want the president to be hopping from plane to plane, even if it belongs to the brother.
This is still top story. Let's bring in Nana Asafo J.I. is Deputy Ranking Member, Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Committee of Parliament, and also MP for Bosome Freho. Honorable, I'm grateful to you for joining here, Nana. But
thank you, my brother.
We are being told that the state is not incurring any debt in the president using his president's jet. Ghanaians say, well, if that's the case, we were all saying that government should stop spending too much on presidential trips in terms of renting a jet. So if we are spending nothing, where's the hula baloo from?
So thank you, my good brother. You see, this wouldn't have been a situation or a problem or a topical issue for us to discuss if our brothers had not made the presidential travel a topical political weapon. We wouldn't have been here. We wouldn't. Don't think we will be called upon to be discussing this. The reason why we are here discussing this is that we had a certain political party weaponize the trip and the foreign journeys or foreign travels of the former president, made a political capital out of it. And today, they are running away from their own shadows. I remember today, the current Minister for Foreign Affairs was saying that our flight is in pristine condition. But the host even went further to ask him, I have heard that one of the engines has a problem, and it even developed a fault somewhere along their flight, and they had to force land. The minister today said that what is wrong with one engine developing a fault? He could have still fly on the other engine. It was what the minister Kojo to Ablakwa said. So insensitive, so wicked against the former president. Today we are here. That flight, or those flights they mentioned, the Minister for Defense said in Africa, in the entire Africa, our flight is the third most pristine flight. So today, the flights they were mentioning, they are still there. What has happened to those flights? Why would our president fly with his brother's flight? That's the first question. So the flight you were asking the people to fly in, you cannot allow President Mahama to fly in now today. Why? Because President Mahama is much more important than Akufo-Addo. So we are here today because of some of these things.
But somebody
tells me that, if somebody tells me that you are flying with his brother's private jet, so we are not incurring any cost, it's a big lie. Is there anything such like a free meal? There's nothing. Now, when you look at the code of ethics or the code of conduct the president himself inaugurated or launched or introduced to his own staff, he told them not to take any gift. Is this one not a gift from the brother?
It's the same. This is his brother. His brother has a jet, and
so
he's using it at no
can
cost to the
take something
state.
from the brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
A minister can take something from the brother. A deputy minister can take something from the brother. A government appointee can take something from the sister. And we find, with that one, we find something wrong with it. But President Mahama can take things from his brother, and it comes at no cost. You believe that? And people cannot take things from their brother, from their family. And you even said that we must disclose the gift. The flight, can you quantify it? The president is paying. How much would the president have paid? That is the tune we are talking about. But you see, the point is that how long are we, for how many years are we going to have presidents who have brothers with private jets?
You sit in a privileged position to demand answers. What is the minority going to do?
So the point that the minority have filed a question, myself, and then a convincent, a few other teams have put together. We filed a question. In fact, we've cataloged all the trips and flights President Mahama has done ever since he became a president. You know, when he's traveling, he has to write to Parliament and inform Parliament. So we've cataloged all of them. And we are asking the defense minister and the foreign affairs minister to come and tell us how he traveled, the cost involved, and how the travel arrangement was made. Then from there, we can now put the information and the responses together and make our deductions from them. But for now, I will be extremely surprised that a Ghanaian will be thinking that President Mahama is traveling in his brother's flight and it comes at no cost to Ghana.
Okay.
I'll be surprised.
Nana, do stay with me because we have the Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, Felix Ofori, with us on the line. He's also MP for Abrasebu Komankese. I'm grateful to you, Felix, for joining us here. Now, is there a reason why the President has decided to continuously use a jet owned by his brother for international travel?
You know, the NPP has developed a habit of wasting everybody's time, raising non-issues, and purporting to be carrying out oversights when the issues are clear and straightforward. I heard that Aphrodisiac purports not to be aware of how the president has traveled since he became president. He himself says that the president writes to Parliament anytime he travels. When the president is traveling, I issue statements indicating that he is traveling. Before he departs, you in the media cover his departure. Whilst he is abroad, everything he's done is beamed back to Ghana. And then when he returns, it is reported. The aircraft he uses has never been a hidden secret. So exactly what are they writing to inquire about?
Okay, but
they only seek to waste our time and raise non-issues.
We'll leave it to them. But Felix, is there a reason why the president chooses to travel with his brother's jet?
Hello?
Yeah,
yes,
I'm with you.
What exactly is their problem with the president's use of his brother's jet? What exactly is the problem with it?
We should be
Of course, we know that when they were in power, President Akufo-Addo came under condemnation for spending lavishly on travels, renting ultra-luxury jets. At the time, they themselves told us that the presidential aircraft was in pristine condition. When Dominic Vitu was summoned to Parliament as defense minister to answer for why the president has not used the jet, he said that the jet went out, but it had come back and it was in pristine condition. On occasions when the jet was not available, the president chose to go for ultra-expensive flights. We all condemned it. Now, since we have come to power, the presidential jet has broken down a number of times. And indeed, I can reveal to you freely that the communications squadron of the Ghana Air Force have written to governments indicating that the frequent breakdown of the presidential jet raises safety issues, it raises cost issues, it raises issues of reliability, and affects operational efficiency. So they recommend to government to purchase a new one together with other aircraft for the Ghana Air Force. Cabinet approved this and brought this agreement to Parliament when Aphrodisiac and his colleagues were there. It was approved by Parliament. Aphrodisiac knows that a new presidential jet is being procured together with other aircraft for the Ghana Air Force. Indeed, one of those aircraft, a helicopter, arrived in Ghana a couple of weeks ago. Now, in between the time that this aircraft has its procurement processes started and its delivery, the president needs to travel. The president says that, no, I have a brother who was an aircraft. So rather than taking the taxpayers' money to go and pay $18,000 an hour like President Akufo-Addo was doing, I will use my brother's jet so that it saves the taxpayers some money in the interim, pending the arrival of this aircraft.
So Felix, how much are we saving anytime he uses his brother's jet?
Also refrain from merely channeling the NPP and asking questions of dubious relevance.
No, Felix, how much do we save anytime he uses his brother's jet?
$10 an hour. So why are you asking me how much we have saved?
How much is it? Mention that again.
You know that President Akufo-Addo was renting aircraft for $18,000 an hour.
No, but I'm asking that currently, how much do we save anytime he uses his brother's jet?
But so if the president has not paid $18,000 an hour, it is obvious that we have saved $18,000 an hour.
Is the cost static even as of today?
The president, of course, that is the aircraft that President Akufo-Addo was renting. That was the cost. But the point is that when the president uses his brother's aircraft, he doesn't pay because he doesn't rent it.
So we don't even pay fuel.
Okay. He pays for fuel.
Okay.
You don't know what?
Oh no, go on.
We pay for fuel.
Okay.
The pilots who pilot that aircraft are retained by his brother because they are in his employ. So he doesn't have to pay for that. Okay. Maybe there are landing charges that he may pay in the country that he goes. The state will bear that. Okay. But we don't rent the aircraft, so it saves us money. How can any minority grouping say that they are worried because the president of Ghana is saving us money? How is that a problem?
So,
in any event, this is an interim arrangement pending the arrival of the one that Parliament itself has approved to be procured for the state, amongst other aircraft for the Air Force.
Okay, so the only cost we bear is the fueling and probably the landing charges, right?
Yes, because everybody knows that in the aviation industry. But we do not pay for the rental. If the president rents an aircraft, not only does he have to pay for rental, he has to pay for fuel as well. So it's not like the president is incurring any additional cost that will not have incurred if he rented it, except that he saves us the cost of renting the aircraft. It is expensive. Indeed, there are times when the president has to travel to multiple countries in one fell swoop. So it is not practical to rent the aircraft and let it go and come back. The aircraft has to wait. Because sometimes he has to spend a day or two in the country before he moves to another place.
So in this arrangement,
it's extremely expensive. You will end up paying millions of dollars.
In this arrangement, if the aircraft breaks down, whose cost is it to maintain?
The aircraft belongs to somebody. If it breaks down, he will maintain it.
Okay. Now, there are concerns that Ibrahim Mahama is a good man, but he's a businessman. So in all of this, there will be some cutbacks in deals. What's the assurance that indeed that's
but
not the
how
case?
are you again speculating?
I'm not speculating. I'm asking the question Ghanaians are asking.
No, which Ghanaian has asked that? It is the NPP that is making that claim.
Oh, so every Ghanaian that asks that question is NPP.
That is not. Is it? But don't ask NPP questions as though they were being asked by neutral parties.
No. But
they are partisan.
But Felix, what you should also understand is that when a Ghanaian puts that out there, it doesn't mean the person is NPP. Not so.
No, I'm saying that it is the NPP. You are on the line with Aphrodisiac, an NPP MP, who is saying this. So don't make it seem as if it is somebody outside of this circle that is saying that.
Oh no! Before I came on, I've read a lot of commentary on from people, and I'm saying that is what people are saying out there.
Is that the other issue too? Is that to ask that how much that this cost and that Ibrahim Mahama will benefit? You must show me evidence of any benefits. Why? The state is supposed to provide me a vehicle.
The question I asked you, Felix.
Let me come to the point. If that vehicle breaks down and I pick my brother's car and take it to work, what harm would I have caused to the state by doing so? In any event, everybody knows that Ibrahim Mahama was a long-standing businessman before his brother became president. He had owned aircraft long before his brother became president. So how does using it generate any benefit for Ibrahim Mahama beyond helping his brother out? Kojo, if you borrow your brother's car and bring it to work tomorrow, what harm would you have caused the organization?
But Felix, you have people like Franklin Kojo who are raising these questions. Franklin Kojo is not MPP, and he's raising the same matter.
I'm saying that the question you asked me specifically related to the MPP, not Franklin. I've read what Franklin Kojo said, and it has nothing to do with Ibrahim Mahama benefiting.
But the point is that, I mean, this is a businessman, and many people out there are saying that no, what is the assurance? And that's why I asked you that. What is the assurance
But
that there's no
before
cutback
you
deal?
ask that question, you must provide me with a pretext. You must give me a basis.
No,
What is the basis for saying that?
The question I'm asking you is
Again,
I'm not asking. I'm not
first
saying.
of all,
No, fellas, hold on. I'm not asking a question about that he has benefited. I'm asking you for assurances that he won't benefit from cutback deals as people are speculating. And you need to educate us and give that assurance.
Kojo, what is the basis for that speculation? What have you seen to warrant that question? What is the basis for it?
Okay. Let me.
No, before I land, before you go, I want you to give me the basis for that question. Why do you think that Ibrahim Mahama will benefit?
Because
the president has used his aircraft, an aircraft that other prominent figures in Ghana, known members of the NPP.
Okay.
So there must be a basis for the question. That's why I have cautioned against merely repeating what the NPP says as question.
It's not what the NPP are saying. A lot of people have, and I sitting here, if I ask you that question, I'm not sure it's fair when you say that. But again, let's come to the code of conduct that he launched a while ago, some time ago. He cautioned that his ministers and appointees must not accept gift. Is this not same? Is this not akin to accepting a gift from someone?
First of all, the state of Ghana has a deficit in terms of his ability to ferry the president. So before he became president, his brother had an aircraft that he was using. It is a fact that is well known to everybody. It is a new arrangement. So the president says that rather than going to take the taxpayers' money to go and rent an aircraft, let me continue using that aircraft that I was using, pending the arrival of the arrangement that the state has made. So I ask the question, how does saving the country money become a problem for anybody? Were we not the same people who criticized Akufo-Addo for renting aircraft? How can we have been against the president renting expensive aircraft and be against the president not renting aircraft at the same time?
Tomorrow, if the tables turn and the president also uses the jet of his brother, will you have the same conviction?
Why would we have a problem with it?
Okay.
So, for instance, if President Akufo-Addo at any point in time was going to the office and he picked his wife's car, which would be in good condition, and takes it to the office, how does that in any way pose a problem for the state?
Is it good governance practice where the president uses his brother's jet, for example, for official trips?
Yes, but I'm saying that what really is a problem that has accrued to the state by the use of that aircraft. If it was the case that the state had an aircraft that is functioning, and the president disregards that and hops into his brother's aircraft and pays for it, in other words, rents it at a cost to the state, then there's legitimate basis to raise conflict of interest and profiteering by his brother.
But we understand the presidential jet that was there previously is back and is in good shape.
But I have told you that the Air Force itself has said that because of security concerns and the frequent breakdown, they won't recommend its use for the president. And again, they said its operation has proved unreliable, and it costs too much because the slightest movement it makes, you have to repair it. So they would recommend an alternative arrangement, which is that a new aircraft should be procured. That is in the process of being done. But until then, the president says, let me use this arrangement that has not imposed significant costs on the state, pending the arrival of the aircraft. So it's not a permanent arrangement in any event. It's only because the state is constrained because of the non-availability of a reliable aircraft. That is all.
All right. I'm grateful to you.
And again, in this instance,
I'm grateful, Felix. We have to leave it here. Felix Kwachofosu is Minister of State in charge of government communications. So that's your response from government, that there's no conflict of interest here. There's no wrong being done.
First and foremost, I wanted Felix to be on the line. You see, today Felix is displaying arrogance of power and telling us that we are speculating. So we are wasting people's time because we are speculating. Let Felix tell us the basis and what guarantee or what evidence they concluded by saying that the flight of Akufo-Addo was $18,000 per hour. Give them that figure. Was it a speculation from Kujeto Ablakwa today that has been proving that everything he said then and now has a sharp contrast? So you, based on speculation, you lied to everybody. You painted the Kufuado black. And on that basis, you won the hearts of Ghanaians and you came to power through that. You lied to everybody. Now, you were telling him, why does the president don't use the presidential jet? He was telling you of a constant breakdown. And he was telling you per recommendation and a report. They have said that the president shouldn't use that again. Fuado told the whole government, the Fuado government told everybody in this country that even the flight had to break down for them to force land. So it's not convenient to fly that jet.
Okay.
Blackman told all of us that what is wrong when one engine of the flight breaks down, you can fly on the other engine.
Okay.
This was how heartless. This was how hypocritical with the flight of President Mahama. I told you that flight wouldn't have been a problem if they had not introduced presidential jet flight as a part of the campaign or part of politics or weaponized it against the people.
But he explains to you that
problem.
we don't incur any cost apart from fuel.
He said what?
Yes, we don't incur any cost apart from fueling and landing charges.
No, you see, I am not even going there now. You see, because I am making a point that those days, not long ago, you were speculating on the cost of his travel. You had no figure. Engineer even had to come out several times to refute the findings and the fact that they put out. They still held on onto those points. Today, we are asking you questions based on the same tenets you use. You are now telling us that we are wasting your time because now you are a presidential spokesperson and a minister for communication for the president, and we are paying you with the taxpayers' money. The arrogance of power. Ghanaians are asking questions, and Ghanaians are now NPP people asking questions. I am happy. This is how they abuse, or this is how power gets into people's. But I'm happy. You see, you asked me a question about the code of conduct. Mm-hmm. So the point is clear. I am in my office. I am the minister for roads. Okay. So people are coming to me, my friends, my family, my other colleagues, associates, come to give me gifts. They have not asked me for anything in return. The president says that I am not supposed to take that gift. But the president now goes behind it or now goes to take a gift from the brother and now justifying it that it is saving cost.
Okay. Nana Asafo-Jada is Deputy Ranking Member on the Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Committee of Parliament. This has been Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.
And tonight, Clocksack's leadership has taken a bold step by voting to escalate the industrial action of unpaid salary structures after a crunch meeting.
We've had should be put into writing. We are yet to receive that. NEC has decided that the strike is unabated. You know, when you meet and the other party is not there, you adjourn. You don't take decisions affecting the other party. That's the court process.
We'll bring you details shortly.
Also tonight, the minority in Parliament is doubling down on its demand for government to hold the ongoing security services recruitment, slamming the exercise as a Ponzi scheme aimed at swindling over 100 million cedis from job-hungry Ghanaian youth.
Is akin to a Ponzi scheme criminally crafted to defraud of 500,000 unemployed innocent Ghanaian youth. There must be an independent bipartisan probe into the entire centralized recruitment process for immediate and appropriate review.
In the quest for virility, some men are playing with fire and their kidneys are paying the price.
Can go in for any aphrodisiacs just to satisfy my girl or someone I love.
Yes, we do it willingly. Okay, sometimes you also want to satisfy the person, so.
Tonight we'll tell you about the alarming rise of kidney disease cases in Ghana as authorities in Ashanti region crack down on sale of a supposed heart cleanser, seriously damaging kidneys and other organs.
Acetone is usually found in the nail polish that the women use for the acrylic nail. Zinc chloride is also corrosive. Right on surface value, this is not something that should be consumed.
In business,
Chamber of Petroleum Consumers projects about 18 Ghana cedis per litre for fuel. That's due to the escalating events in the Middle East.
In sports,
We'll hear from the chairman of the local organizing committee on Ghana's readiness in the specialty cricket tournament set for later this month.
And a bit later, a goat-filled drama unfolds in the central region. Tonight, we're in the region where goats and members of a goat-stealing syndicate are in a police custody after a gun battle with police, leaving 3 persons injured. We've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. Feel free to be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Pearl Ofori.
Details shortly.
Auntie T, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telesell, we the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telesell. Connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, I sleep.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
During Ramadan, the fast is between you and Allah, but the moments around it are shared. From Sahur to Iftar, Cadbury Hot Chocolate makes sustenance as simple as adding hot water. Watch the velvety froth rise, releasing the aroma of Ghanaian cocoa, an exceptional taste, ready in an instant. Cadbury Hot Chocolate, share the warmth of togetherness. Ramadan Curry. This advert is FDA approved.
Ya Allah, send your light on me.
In the heart of a serene, fast-growing location, something extraordinary is taking shape. The new Accra City, the modern city project, master planned to give families, investors, and everyday dreamers the lifestyle they deserve. Here, you enjoy litigation-free land, beautifully built homes, and a peaceful community designed for comfort, security, and growth. With wide roads, green spaces, and carefully positioned neighborhoods, the new Accra City brings you the future of urban living today. Whether you're looking to buy a home, secure land as an investment, seek Cities and Habitat is here for you. Visit our offices near Porter City, near Chopra, or call us on 05555 30300 or 0577 911101. Explore more at www.neocrowd.city. Cities and Habitat. Rent to own, shaping Ghana's urban future.
Tonight, the minority in Parliament is not backing down. They are doubling down on their demand to halt the ongoing security services recruitment, calling for an independent probe into the alleged scandal. They have slammed the exercise as a Ponzi scheme aimed at swindling over 100 million cedis from job-hungry Ghanaian youth. Their demands follow revelations by the Interior Minister Mohamed Mubarak Muntaka that nearly 500,000 young Ghanaians applied for recruitment into the security services, even though financial clearance existed for only about 5,000 positions.
The exercise has already seen hundreds of thousands of applicants disqualified after aptitude tests, triggering widespread frustration among applicants across the country. Addressing journalists in Parliament, Minority spokesperson on Defence and Interior, John Kojo, described the entire recruitment process as deeply troubling, insisting it must be halted until Parliament conducts a thorough bipartisan investigation.
This government significantly expanded the applicant pool and heightened expectations among thousands of desperate but qualified young people seeking employment. Such a decision, ladies and gentlemen, was reckless, misguided, and intended to create the false impression of sufficient financial clearance to accommodate more applicants. We reiterate the cogent calls earlier made by the minority leader of the Minority Caucus, Honorable Osahin Alexander Kwamina Afenyomakin, and further call for the following urgent actions. Number one, and first, there must be an independent bipartisan probe into the entire centralized recruitment process for immediate and appropriate review before we continue. And number two, very, very importantly, responding to the plight of the 500,000 potential recruits who have been scammed, we demand the government must refund the application fees of 220 cedis per application form to all applicants who were disqualified through knocked out technology constraints, who were disqualified not because they did not qualify, but because of the problematic nature of their aptitude tests by the questionable recruitment process. They must all be restored to every amount they lost. And here, to put it in perspective, most of the applicants will tell you that they bought 2, 3, some even 4 forms to all the security agencies. So for the person who bought 3 forms to Ghana Police Service, to Immigration, and to Ghana Fire Service, such a person has lost 660 cedis, not to talk of the cost of traveling to recruitment centers.
Well, John Kojo further argues that the scale of applications relative to the available vacancies suggests that the process may have been designed primarily to generate revenue from desperate unemployed youth.
Without a doubt, the structure of this recruitment exercise is akin to a Ponzi scheme, criminally crafted to defraud over 500,000, 500,000 unemployed innocent Ghanaian youth. Having widely made recruitment into the security services a major NDC campaign promise in 2024, over 506,000 Ghanaian youth responded to the government's call in 2025 and applied to join various security services under the Ministry of Interior, namely Ghana Police Service, Ghana Immigration Service, Ghana National Fire Service, and the Ghana Prison Service. These young men and women, full of hope and patriotism, were made to believe that they were being offered genuine opportunity to serve their country and secure a dignified livelihood. However, the Minister for Interior, in a press conference yesterday at this same venue, to the utter shock of the nation, indicated that only 5,000 applicants will be recruited from this enormous pool of applicants. This revelation has left hundreds of thousands of hopeful applicants devastated, disillusioned, and feeling exploited.
And here the Reverend Intim Kojo, he's the ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament.
Kofi Amankwa Menu is the deputy ranking member on Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament and is joining me on the telephone lines right now. Welcome to the program. What is your justification for describing the recruitment process as a Ponzi scheme?
Thank you very much, my brother, and good evening to your listening, your cherished listeners. We are describing the recruitment exercise as a Ponzi scheme because we are of the view that before you even start the recruitment process, you know exactly how many persons you can recruit. This is captured in the budget and the figure has been appropriated. And so you know how many persons you can recruit. That aside, you also know how many people the facilities you have can contain. So how many people or persons you can recruit is no doubt, you know. But we are saying it is a Ponzi scheme because, one, the whole thing was designed in such a way that hitherto the ceiling age was 25. This has been extended to 35. In fact, when they started mentioning this in Parliament, we cautioned them that they must be careful because there is a reason why the age was set at 25. They did not listen. That aside, they made the recruitment a campaign promise. Again, English and Maths was a requirement. It's no more a requirement. But whenever you're going to have a recruitment exercise, you must have a saving mechanism from the get-go so you can get the best at the end of the exercise. But we did not see any of those. So if you know that you can recruit is 5,000, but then you extend the age from 25 to 35, English and Maths not a requirement anymore. Besides that, this was a campaign promise. And then you open the floodgate, and then at the end of the day, mind you, this was done online. So at any given time, you know how many people are applying. But you sit down to have over 500,000, over 500,000 people recruiting, and each of them was paying 220 cedis. Obviously, when you know or you give a promise of a service, and then you take money, and you cannot deliver the promise, there is no other way to describe this but to call it a Ponzi scheme.
Kofi, there are critics who say your side does not have the moral right to demand a refund because you did recruitments in the last 8 years in office as well. And of course, those also came with excess numbers. Did you do a refund to those who were not recruited as you are demanding now?
Refund. We did not do a refund, but this is it. We knew the numbers we could take. We had all the saving mechanisms in place. We did not make recruitment into the security services a campaign promise. We did not do any of those. But our colleagues are doing that. That is why we believe that the whole system was designed to rake in money for government and not to as it were, give different jobs to the teeming youth who are in need of employment.
Mr. Manupel here. So if this process, you're calling for the process to be halted now. If this process is halted now, then what happens to the applicants who have already passed the aptitude test?
We are saying that we need an investigation. You see, I am somebody who will never do politics with security. But as a nation, we need to sit and then come with a proper design recruitment, processes where every Ghanaian can go through the process and be recruited to join the security services. Our brothers when they were in the opposition.
You know that's not possible, right? What you just proposed.
Now it is obvious they cannot deliver. It is important. It is obvious they need help. And we will have to come to help them. Because if for nothing at all, we've gone through it before, we know the gaps, and we have to help.
And how are you going to do that?
We are going to do that if they are prepared to learn. That is why we are saying there should be an investigation. And then we sit around a table. And then let, Jojo and find a way so that going into the future, we will not go through this ordeal again.
You demand an independent bipartisan probe. How will you get Parliament to grant that for you?
Well, we just have to put it across to Mr. Speaker. And I believe that when we make a good case, Mr. Speaker will listen to it.
Kofi Amankwa-Menu, thank you very much. He's the Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee.
While strike and civil and local government staff are digging in their heels, escalating their strike over a salary structure deal made in 2022 that is still gathering dust. After snapping a National Labour Commission meeting on Wednesday, the striking workers are taking their demands to the next level. The strike is already crippling public services, and the National Labour Commission has declared the action illegal, directing the workers to suspend the strike and discuss their concerns.
But Executive Director of CLOCSAG, Isaac Bampo Ado, announced after a leadership meeting that the strike will continue unabated.
He said transition. That's why there was a transition team. And all these issues were discussed. You have extras of the transition team, how the issues that were discussed relating to this, our MOU, and then our unique salary structure. When the Minister for Employment was vetted, the issue came up. And he acknowledged it and said we're going to look at it. And it's not an issue that we are now talking about that it should be implemented. It has been partially implemented. As we speak currently, our colleagues at Ministry of Finance are enjoying this structure. So what are we talking about? So if we all civil servants and some are enjoying, some are not enjoying, shouldn't we complain? So these are the issues. The fact is this: our colleagues in Ministry of Finance enjoying it? Yes or no? Go and ask them. You know, they are going on retirement and they are dying. And these issues you are talking about affect their pension. So should we look on unconcerned while some members are dying? They go to pension and they take Kofi pension. Are you happy? You also come to pension and then you realize what you're talking about. Go to pension, you take Kofi pension. And then as a union, you say we should keep quiet. No, we're not going to keep quiet.
Good for good. Yes.
We're not going to keep quiet. We're going to fight for our members.
Isaac Bampo also justified the legality of their strike, insisting they failed to honor NLC's meeting because they were not notified.
Discussions that we've had should be put into writing. We are yet to receive that. Well, let them put it into writing, then we can comment on it. NEC has decided that the strike is unabated. For now, NEC has decided that the strike is unabated. You know, when you meet and the other party is not there, you are adjourned. You don't take decisions affecting the other party. That's the court process. You go to court. You are invited to court, whether defendant or plaintiff, and you are not there for the first time. Would the court go ahead and take a decision on the matter? No. So they are what they've done is illegal. For the first time, you go. One of the parties not around, and then you take a decision. No, it's not done that way.
Well, my colleague Stephen Mensah joins us in the studio with a statement from the National Service Secretariat because they are asking service personnel to report to work in spite of the CLOCSAG strike. So what's contained in this statement, Stephen?
Pearl, the statement says, we wish to inform all national service personnel currently deployed to institutions under the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana that they are not parties in the ongoing industrial action declared by the association. The authority has observed that the strike action by CLOCSAG has affected operations in some institutions where national service personnel have been deployed. However, management wishes to emphasize that national service personnel are not members of CLOCSAG and are therefore not covered by the strike action. Accordingly, all national service personnel serving in institutions under CLOCSAG are required to continue reporting to their respective places of posting and carry out their assigned duties as expected. And it is signed by Ruth Delacedo, the Director General of National Service Authority.
So, of course, that was the statement from the National Service Secretariat. The National Labour Commission also has a statement.
Yes. So, the statement from the National Labour Commission says it is referring to the summon on 5th March 2026 in the above named matter, and the statement says it's declaring the strike illegal and consequently directing CLOCSAG to call it off immediately and report and resume to work. The disputing parties are summoned to appeal before the commission on Wednesday, 18th March 2026 at 2 p.m.
Stephen Mensah, thank you so much for that update.
You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM and our numerous affiliates across the country. Feel free to be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Let's bring you more stories this evening, because in the quest for virility, some men are playing with fire and their kidneys are paying the price. Despite warnings from health experts, aphrodisiacs and Georgie herbal concoctions are still flying off the shelves with devastating consequences. The Ashanti region is cracking down on a so-called heart cleanser that is wreaking havoc on kidneys and other organs as kidney disease cases spike. Here is a report by my colleague Ohim Interior.
Mandara Sukudai has endeared itself to many Ghanaians, especially the youth. It is believed to contain heart-cleansing potency by patrons of the drink. It is often sold by some Nigerian nationals. However, an acute toxicity test conducted by the Department of Pharmacology at KNUST revealed the drink is toxic, and it was found to contain acetone, zinc chloride and ethanol.
We gave different doses from low to medium and then high doses of the product to the group of rats in each cage, and within 24 hours all the rats died.
The dead rats exhibited some uneasiness a few seconds after taking the concoction, which also melted plastic takeaway bowls.
Preliminary discovered that the product contains organic solvent like acetone. Acetone is usually found in the nail polish that the women use for the acrylic nail. Zinc chloride is also corrosive. Right on surface value, this is not something that should be consumed and can result in serious damage to the liver and the kidneys.
The investigation follows the arrest of a trader who deals in chemicals used in the preparations of the Sukudai drink by national security operatives in Kumasi. It comes after several weeks of surveillance and intelligent gathering as the product is sold in secrecy. Ashanti Regional Deputy Security Coordinator Alhaji Inje Abdullah Umar led the operation to the arrest of the trader at Abuabo. He describes the presence of Sukudai drink on the streets of Kumasi as a national security concern.
What has been given to a rodent in less than 24 hours died. You don't know who are consuming it, but they are Ghanaians. And the most interesting aspect is that those selling it, when you tell them to drink it, they will not. Even if you force them, they are not going to drink it. So it means we have to rise up and fight it.
A consultant nephrologist at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital is raising concerns over the heart-cleansing tag of Sukudai.
My thinking is that it gives them some burning sensation in their chest, and that is what they are calling cleansing their chest, which I'm afraid, because of how corrosive the zinc chloride is, it might end up affecting their gut. Then there's a tendency it can affect the liver and the kidney.
Well, there are also concerns about the increasing use of aphrodisiacs and other herbal concoctions amongst Ghanaian men and its effects on their kidneys and other organs. Head of the renal unit at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Professor Pedite Ochre, is urging Ghanaian men to prioritize their health.
Advising that men, especially those living with conditions such as diabetes, should not be pressured beyond their physical limits, as this could negatively affect their health, particularly their kidneys. We're also appealing to spouses to support their partners by encouraging them to take their prescribed medications and avoid unnecessary stress, especially where there are challenges with sexual performance. While some argue that the pressure does not come from wives, but rather from extramarital partners. A lot of things.
All a cross-section of Ghanaian men have been defending their reliance on aphrodisiacs. Listen.
And I was not married, so I can go in for any aphrodisiacs just to satisfy my girl or someone I loved. But I knew it affects our kidneys here and there. But look as if we don't even care about the side effect.
Yes, we do it willingly. Sometimes you also want to satisfy the person, so.
Side relationships are often linked to money, and some people date married partners for financial reasons. Married couples may enjoy intimacy at first, but over time, one partner may become tired of it. Forcing a husband to take certain medications can harm his health.
I know it's mostly the men's decision. They choose to do that. Nobody forced them because they can even buy it without them telling even their wives how much more their side chick. They are not going to even tell their side chick. It's their decision. They really want to do more than what they can do.
And I'll go for business shortly because George Yafi is here and he's smiling. But I want to ask Kenneth. Kenneth, have you tried Aphrodisiac?
Never. I have no reason to do that. Anyway, let's go into the telephone lines right now and speak to Professor Perdita Ochre. She's the head of renal unit of the Konfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. Professor Ochre, grateful for your time this evening. You heard from some men who claim they are willingly using these products. What immediate health risks should they be aware of?
Okay. Thank you very much. Aphrodisiacs are stimulants. They are used to increase or enhance sexual performance. And you know that sex requires energy, especially for our men. So naturally, God has given them that strength to do that. But as you age or you develop a lot of comorbidities that affect your heart, and we have risk factors of diseases that can affect your heart. Hypertension is one of them, diabetes is one of them, kidney diseases is one of them. And as you age, your ability to perform tests goes down. And I believe that naturally, if you have grew up with your wife is also growing up, so your strength may catch up. So we are not encouraging men or elderly people to boost their sexual performance with aphrodisiacs if they don't know their heart condition, if they don't know that they have any cardiovascular risk factor. Because if you don't take care, fast in the heart, you may have cardiac arrest, or you may have a medical complication that even may result in your death. So I would just encourage our fathers that naturally we have to be health seeking. We have to know our health status as we grow. We have to screen ourselves for cardiovascular risk diseases. Number one being hypertension, diabetes, and then maybe dyslipidemia. When I say dyslipidemia, I mean high cholesterol levels in our blood. If we know this and then we take our medications, then our heart may cope with our sexual performance, and other cardiovascular diseases may be reduced, may be controlled, so that we may not cause ourselves in trouble when we are having sexual issues.
Right. Professor Ochre, I heard you say that men who are aged and those with underlying health conditions should avoid aphrodisiac. Does that mean that healthy men can have it?
Well, I'll not say that healthy men should have it. Healthy men can rely on their natural health and do their sexual performance. Because if you overdo it, you may even affect your sexual partner. So I think if you're a healthy man, you are strong, you have that energy to perform your natural sex. And therefore, let's stick to that.
Professor Perdita Ochre, thank you very much. She's the head of renal unit at the Konfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. And before we go to business, though, still to come tonight. We are in the central region where goats and members of a goat stealing syndicate are in police custody after a gun battle with police, leaving 3 persons injured. But before that, let's do business. George?
Well, Kenneth, coming up in business, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers project about 18 Ghana cedis per litre for fuel from next week due to the escalating events in the Middle East. And Telesell announces declaration of profit for the first time in a while and significant growth in subscriber numbers for last year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Center Tanks, and Pepsodent, Herbal, and Charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244-308-111 for more information.
MTN.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Crude Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation. With special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Crude Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Crude Convention Center in Praeso Hills. Go to www.crudebusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059-555-5885 or 059-555-5995. Crude Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
Cast your mind back to 2022. The prices were rising. The stress was high. Every liter of fuel felt like a sacrifice. Do you remember who stepped forward first? When others were comfortable with high prices, Star Oil chose you. We cut our own profits so you could keep your AC on, keep your engines running, and keep your life moving without the heavy burden. We gave you room to breathe when things felt tight. Because of you, our star savers, we became number one. Today, the pumps are a battleground. Others are finally cutting prices because they have to. But Star Oil, we do it because we want to. Don't just chase a price, remember a friendship. We were there for you then, and with new innovations coming your way, we are here for you now. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
If you want quality, this be where you belong. Hey, tough, hey, strong. Oh, gonna shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, syntax no break. When the rain they fall, still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
The Ghana Exim Bank is 10 years old. Hooray! And to commemorate this milestone, the Ghana Exim Bank is hosting a two-day international conference on the theme, A Decade of Enabling Export Trade and Industrial Transformation, Resetting Gexim for the Next Frontier. The event takes place on the 25th to 26th of March at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, 8 a.m. each day. President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will perform the official opening of the conference. Special guest and speaker, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosue-Jari, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Conference host is Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank. For inquiries, call 0208-541-480 or visit eximbankghana.com/conference to register. Media partners: Daily Graphic, Media General, The Multimedia Group, City FM, Radio Gold and Channel 1 TV. And knowledge partners include IFC and SME Finance Forum.
During Ramadan, the fast is between you and Allah, but the moments around it are shared. From Sahur to Iftar, Cadbury Hot Chocolate makes sustenance as simple as adding hot water. Watch the velvety froth ride, releasing the aroma of Ghanaian cocoa, an exceptional taste, ready in an instant. Cadbury Hot Chocolate, share the warmth of togetherness. Ramadan Curry. This advert is FDA approved.
Ya Allah, send your light on the dark.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is projecting that consumers may be paying as much as 18 Ghana cedis per litre for fuel. That is from next Monday. Now, that's the fresh analysis of price codes of the various petroleum products of the crude oil reached almost $100 a barrel. Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, says he's surprised that most of the oil marketing companies have not gone up already at the pumps.
Recent attacks in Nigeria, the Nigerians will...
What you have now, about 7-8 Ghana cedis FOB per litre. You are doing about 13 Ghana cedis now. Market, as of yesterday, numbers I was receiving indicated that we had crossed the 13 Ghana cedis a litre. That is less taxes. If you do about 4 cedi 29, 4 cedi 31 taxes in addition, you go past the 17 Ghana cedi, getting close to 18 Ghana cedi. It could be interesting, like Dr. Opon said.
And then again, we are learning that consumers of diesel could be the hardest hit in the expected price review from Monday.
What happens with diesel is this. You know, the cost of heating oil globally has almost doubled or tripled. The closest product you have to heating oil, if you don't have heating, probably be the AGO or diesel. And so once heating and the substitute, the close substitute, diesel is needed around the world. What that means is that you are not going to get enough of gas, even if you wanted to do cleaner heating. So the cost of AGO or diesel, he said, will be very interesting by Monday.
In a related development, transport operators have indicated that they could also move to increase fares if the fuel price reached these levels as projected. Let's listen to Duncan Amwa again based on his engagement with the transport operators.
I do share in those sentiments. You are getting to a point where you would even go past the January 1st, 2025 era of fuel trading averagely around $14.99 for both products. If you hit 16 or 15 or 17, you probably are dealing with a more difficult era. And so it will be only fair that authorities begin looking at a way of giving the consumer some respite. I have already had some initial conversations with the transport operators who clearly are asking that if the prices they are also hearing or seeing should come to pass, they may have to also increase that. So it could bring general hardship to the Ghanaian, and I would expect that clearly some of the taxes just for mitigating the issue be scaled down on so that the effect will not be as dire on all.
And that is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, also making a case for some taxes on the price build-up of petroleum products to be reviewed due to the current development on the international market. And still on the international market, crude oil is still rising. Now, this is despite the announcement by the International Energy Agency to release more than 400 million barrels of strategic oil reserves onto the global market. The price of crude went down to about $80, and it's now selling at almost $100 per barrel. To other stories, telecom firm Telesell has announced that it has posted some significant growth in profit for the first time in a long while for last year. It has also seen the subscriber numbers grow by some significant number for 2025. According to Telesell, the growth in these numbers were due to some critical investment in some areas of the business. Patricia Bona is Chief Executive of Telesell Ghana.
The transformation in the organization, having been there for 15 years, this is probably one of my best years. Because whilst everybody said Telesell had a network, we didn't have customer growth. So for a business that was growing 10% thereabout, the end of the financial year 2025, we grew almost 30%.
Wow.
Yes, we are declaring profit for the first time this year. Increased our network, so we had about 5,000 sites, and now we have about 9,000 sites.
How did you do that?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. It required investment, and this is where I acknowledge what Telesell Group has done, bringing in the cash injection to allow us to be able to invest. And I was in China last year with them to go and close our equipment deal. And so we had our equipment coming in, but we still have a happy problem, which means the more you grow, you see the customer base growing so phenomenally.
Patricia Bona is Chief Executive of Telesell Ghana, speaking on the morning show earlier today. Now, Bank of Africa has extended hand to support with the Muslim community during this Ramadan with a donation to the office of the Chief Imam to aid the spiritual exercise. Head of Marketing and Corporate Communications at Bank of Africa, Leila Penso, noted that this is essential for both the development of society and the bank's own growth. She made these remarks during the bank's donation to the office of the Chief Imam here in Accra.
As a bank, we are a business for continuity. So the interest or the development of the society, the youth especially, is key. And faith-based institutions are very critical in developing the future so that our business can thrive, the community can develop, and we can continue to be in business. Ramadan is a period of empathy, a period of reflection, a period of giving of what you have and sharing. So that is exactly what we are doing at Bank of Africa. And we are imbibing that culture in our colleagues at work, within our internal activities as well.
Head of Marketing and Corporate Communications at Bank of Africa, Leila Pentel. Now, MTN Ghana says it will intensify support for small businesses through a nationwide outreach, training, and various programs. Speaking at the 2026 MTN SME Accelerated Launch, Chief Enterprise Business Officer Angela Mensah-Poku says that the company will engage small business directly in business district through other activations.
After we launch, we're going into our business districts in all the areas to educate, and so we will be doing activations with our colleagues in mobile money and also the guys in the SME share. We'll be educating and trying to drive up adoption of what are you doing today? Maybe you can do it differently. Also, we will be doing quarterly webinars on how to attract funding. We'll also be launching the SME Awards, and we're encouraging more people to enter the SME Awards. We will also be training with ABSA around the business school. So Nova Business School, MTN and ABSA are coming together to collaborate on how we can train and certify. So we organized a mini MBA and we'll be holding that in blocks of 3 for the rest of the year.
Angela Mensah-Poku is Chief Enterprise Business Officer at MTN Ghana. To the stock market, activities on the Ghana Stock Exchange peaked strongly for last month. That's according to its monthly market active released by the Ghana Stock Exchange. Activities peaked by more than 500% on the top price gainers for the month of February, where SIC Insurance that went up by more than 225%. Now, indeed, SIC has been having some good run on the market. On the stock market today, it went up by 62 pesos to close at 6 Ghana cedis, 99 pesos. And on PM Express Business Edition tonight, we're looking at the Middle East crisis and rising crude prices and how that is impacting or will impact on businesses here in Ghana. We've heard about fares or shipping lines increasing their charges, what would that mean for imports and exports? We'll be engaging the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Sechu Makabwa, the chairman of the Food and Beverage Association, that is Jonah Woni, and also financial expert Joe Jackson at 9 p.m. on Joy News and all our social media platforms.
That's a conversation I'll definitely not miss. Thank you very much, George. Let's do sports.
And the local organizing committee for the International Cricket Council Men's T20 World Cup Sub-Regional African Qualifier B have expressed readiness to host the rest of Africa for the tournament slated for March 24 to 29. Now, the tournament will feature 6 teams, including Ghana, Malawi, St. Helena, Eswatini, Seychelles, and Tanzania, all competing for the ultimate. Now, speaking after a tour at the Achimota Cricket Oval, chairman of the local organizing committee, Neokai Evans Anfom, assured that plans are far advanced to host the tournament.
Coaches tell me that Team Ghana is quite ready for the tournament. The competition is starting. The first ball will be bowled on March the 24th. It's teams will arrive on the 22nd of March, and on the 23rd would be practice day for the teams. Now, there are actually 6 teams, and it's a round robin. So on each day, there's going to be 2 matches at one oval going on, and then 1 match at another oval. So I think each day there are 6 matches, and I think 1 or 2 teams may actually, or every team will probably play 2 matches on one of the days. I think there are about 5 or 6 tournaments in the African qualifiers, but we are hosting 6 nations, 5 nations, because there's Ghana, Eswatini, Tanzania, Malawi, the Seychelles, and the island of St. Helena.
All right, so that's it for about cricket. I want to talk about the Champions League. Kenneth, you know I can't live without congratulating you for what you guys did to Manchester City yesterday.
I mean, Champions League is Real Madrid. Real Madrid is Champions League.
But did you expect that result?
It was a walk in the park.
Whatever Valverde drank before the game, for link you, because the man was on fire yesterday.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we'll not talk about Chelsea's defeat. By the way,
that one, our coach,
a humiliating defeat.
Our coach,
or will you avenge it?
Man, it's possible. We've done it before. So
I'm behind you. I'm behind you. I trust you.
They are coming to the bridge, so Charlie.
Right.
All right. That's it for sports.
Thank you.
Now, Ghana's rural communities are still struggling to get reliable electricity, despite efforts to expand the national grid. In Eastern Region's Tadankro village, life without power is the norm. Residents rely on rented solar lamps, firewood and charcoal just to get by. Rising temperatures are making things tougher, affecting healthcare, education and daily life. In Climate Evidence today, we take you to Tadankro, where we are highlighting the community's resilience and adaptation strategies in the face of these challenges.
There are no street lights, no hanging transformers, and no glow from windows when the sun disappears. Tadankro is not connected to the national grid. When darkness falls, families rely on small solar lamps they rent each night just to keep their homes lit. We rent a solar lamp for 2 cedis so I can study at night. Firewood and charcoal remain the main source of energy for cooking. These everyday realities are becoming harder to manage. Rising temperatures trap heat inside homes without fan. When the heat becomes too much, our rooms get very warm, so we step outside for a while before going back into sleep. When it rains, we also have to deal with snakes, scorpions, and other creatures. At the community's basic school, the absence of power affects teaching and learning.
I find it difficult to stay in the classroom, especially the kindergarten. We allow them to play or to come out and then teach them outside instead of the class. We don't have light to charge our ICT implements, so we have to go to a nearby community.
Healthcare workers face similar challenges.
Sometimes I have to key in some claims, that is NHIS, where I have to send them to the office, and staying here for a week or more than that, the laptop will go off. So I have to go back to the city, go go and charge it before I can do that. And then some of our medications, we have to freeze them, especially with the vaccines which we use on the kids. I have to go to the city and bring those vaccines. We have solar here. The panels, they are old. It's more than 20 years now, and it's not able to power the freezer. So I have to go to the city all the time with my motorbike, bring the vaccines.
Energy researchers, Baker and colleagues remind us in their 2021 research that true energy access means power that is reliable, affordable, and usable. Without that, electrification is only an illusion. In Tadankro, the challenge runs even deeper. There is no illusion here. The grid has simply not arrived. Our community has a school and a clinic, but because there is no electricity, teachers and health workers often live in another town. At night, we rent solar lamps for 2 hours just to have light.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Well, tonight, a goat-filled drama unfolds as 27 suspects, including the four-legged ruminant, are in police custody after a double swoop on a goat-stealing syndicate. Well, 14 goats didn't make it, but 13 are alive and kicking alongside the human suspects. Are all being held at the police station. Well, 3 people, including an officer, have been injured following a gun battle and are receiving treatment at the hospital. And our correspondent Alfred Amo with Adom News is joining us with more. Alfred, tell us the latest. Have they been released, the goats and the humans?
Okay, so they are still there. The incident actually happened last night, and the vehicles involved are 2 4x4 vehicles. That's a Pajero with registration number GR9864-19 and a Toyota Highlander with registration number GR1623-16. The information I have so far has it that the Pajero vehicle actually started operation from Mankasim. The car is actually from Cape Coast, and it started operation from Mankasim through Ejumako, Bremen Esikuma, and it's continuing through Odan Main Road. That's Amanfupon, Ashanti, and it continued operation through to Aphrodisiac, where they were able to join the Cape Coast Highway. So they drove through Asinfusu, but when they got to Aphrodisiac barrier, the police officers there were able to identify that Pajero vehicle, that it's a regular vehicle that usually uses the place. And when they got there, when they usually get there, they use a siren. The police officer will stop them, they will ignore, and they move. But this time around, when they got there, the police officers at the barrier were bent to make sure that they stopped the car and actually searched. But when they go there again, they ignored the police officers and then drove away. So the police officers at the barrier decided to chase the car. So on the Cape Coast Highway, they drove to Ashanti, but instead of using the main highway, they actually branched on a particular feeder road which led to Banshansi and other villages. The police officers again chased the car, but the suspect sensing danger, they started shooting at the police officers, and the police officers also started shooting at the suspects, the Pajero vehicle in question. So in the process, 2 of the suspects got injured, and the police officer also got injured. So eventually, they were able to arrest the car, and when they started searching the car, they saw about 17 live goats in the car. So the suspects and then the group were brought to the Central North Regional Police Command. But on their way coming, the officers at the barrier where the Pajero car actually got there and they gave it a chase, they left other officers there. So on their way to the barrier, the officers at the barrier called the operation team that another Toyota Highlander has gotten to the barrier. They attempted to stop the vehicle, but it refused and drove away. So the officers who actually embarked on the first operation decided to chase the car and search for the Toyota Highlander. But when the Highlander got to Asemanso, they didn't use the main Cape Coast road. They used Ochiso road. There's another road there. So the police officers gave it a hot chase again. they go to the car and they eventually arrested them. When they started searching in the car, they also had about 16 live goats in the car. So they brought that one again to the Central North Regional Police Command. We were able to speak to the Central North Regional Police Commander about the incident, the COP Abraham Akwe, and he has this to say to Adum News.
Alfred Amo, thank you very much for following that story
and
for
that's
us.
some comprehensive update.
Yes.
An interesting story.
A very, very
goat
interesting
stealing
story.
syndicate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the release of the goats, by the way, not the humans. And that's it for Newsnight. But before we go, a few of the messages you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. Say, Ike in Cape Coast says, I'm so shocked at the position held by the minority of our parliament with respect to the recruitment into the security services. If the scope by age is expanded to allow for more qualified candidates to apply, is it not good news we should be celebrating? Gyasi from Sakumono says, we thank the minority for pretending to be fighting for the ordinary Ghanaian in this recruitment issue. And Kwame from Pukwasi says, this in Team Fojo guy has become something else after his party lost power. What is the difference between what NPP did and now? Nene from Tishi says, I own a car. I decide to give it to my brother to use for free, so he should or could save money and spend it on other things. Is this one too a problem, for which reason people should insist on unnecessary questions? And this one from Wilfred in Achimota says, how the MPP would compare the current president's travels with the immediate former president's travels. And our journalists will look on and let that argument slide is really something that is interesting and troubling. Pearl?
And Kenneth, today on Personality Profile, we'll bring you a playback of the conversation with the gunman chair. And before we go, Pepsodent says, do the 2 before you go to bed tonight. Remember to brush your teeth with Pepsodent.
And